Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about gaming on the Google Pixel Fold. Is it good at it? Is it bad at it? That's what we're going to try and find out here. I'm going to be using these 4 games to make this determination. These are 4 very popular games and games that will tax the system to varying degrees. Now, of course, when gaming on a device like this, you have a couple of options. You can play on the cover display, but you can also play on the internal larger tablet display. We're going to be pushing things to its limit by going with the tablet screen and playing things here. I believe that's how most people are going to want to play. So that is indeed what we are going to do. Let's start off in what I believe to be the most logical, most reasonable place with Minecraft. Tried and true. We've seen it a million times. We know how it should generally run. Let's jump into the level that I believe I have already set up, and you will see how quick it is to load into the level itself. Nothing incredible, but absolutely quick enough. From there, we need to jump into our settings, and let's go look at video, and you can see what we've got going on here. This was just the default settings. Fancy graphics. Render distance is set to 12 chunks. Again, that was how it came. So this is going to be difficult for me to do while holding it in this orientation, or I should say not holding it in any orientation at all. But you should be able to tell here that the game, as expected, is running very, very well. No issues playing this game at all. Now, one thing I'm going to do here, we're going to see if we can accumulate any sort of higher thermals. So give me just a moment and we'll see what happens. Now, as I'm running around, maybe you'll be able to see this, but I do want to point out that I am getting the occasional little hitches here and there. Nothing crazy, but absolutely there are moments where I believe there was a little bit of a slowdown. There are moments where I'm dropping frames just a little bit. There was another such moment like that there. So definitely chugging at times, but I would say that this is still broadly quite playable, and the controls are actually very comfortable because of the width of the device. I feel like my controls are potentially more comfortable, some more slowdown there, than it is on something like the Z Fold 4. Now let's take our infrared thermometer. Let's make sure that we are on a mode that will be able to scan relatively high temperatures, and we're going to scan here on the back because that is where the thing tends to get the hottest. We're at about 100.2 degrees, 102, hard to see there, 102.7, 103.1. Looks like around 103 degrees is about the warmest that we are getting while playing Minecraft for a few minutes here. I don't think it's going to go up a whole lot more than that, but you can also do some other interesting things with this device. So we're playing Minecraft, right? Let's go ahead and we're going to rotate it. Actually, I guess we need to keep it back in this orientation before we do this. Let's go ahead and swipe up and get our taskbar, and let's put YouTube over on that side, and then let's go ahead and rotate it again. Now what we can do, let's make sure our volume is still all the way down, and let's just start a video playing while we are still playing Minecraft. And again, this is still running relatively well. There's definitely some slowdowns that I'm seeing, but I don't know if it's any more than I was seeing before. So this is a pretty cool thing to be able to do, right? You're able to play a game while having a video playing above it, and there's really not a whole lot of problem. That was probably the worst slowdown that we've seen yet. I forgot pandas were in this game, but that absolutely does make me happy. Let's see if by doing this, if we're accruing any additional thermals. We're up to 104 now. So after letting that sit for a little while, it doesn't look like the thermals are going any higher than about 104 degrees. And again, YouTube video playing, Minecraft running down below, and everything seems to be running okay. Again, there are some hitches, some stutters. Overall, I think it's pretty decent. Let me also point out that when you're in a game, you can actually swipe down and get to this little gaming mode thing, which is going to show you a few different things. Possible optimizations for games, the ability to stream your gameplay. I actually did not even realize this. You could do FPS. That would have been actually useful for what I was doing here. FPS, the ability to record, and the ability to have a little screenshot shortcut, do not disturb. There's actually some decent stuff here for optimizing your gameplay. You can see there how that kind of pops out from the side and shows you that frame rate running at 120 here in the menu. And as we run around here in the game, I might be able to really well demonstrate sort of these frame drops. You see, we're sticking at 120 a lot of the time, but there are those drops into the 90s. Let's try to keep kind of moving around here and see if we can get any heavier drops here in Minecraft. I mean, honestly, it's holding at 120 a lot of the time. 110, they're down to 81 there for just a moment, 115. You can get an idea here of what kind of performance we're expecting in this game. So now we're in Call of Duty Mobile. We're just gonna load up a match here and see what this is like. The settings are as they come. Maybe I can pull that up. So in Call of Duty Mobile, this is what we're looking at. Very high, frame rate is very high. You can see what the settings are here. This is as they came. Hopefully you got a good look at all that stuff on screen. Let's see if I can move around and shoot anybody. I think this game actually does look pretty decent, but I'm definitely seeing some frame drops here and there, kind of similar to Minecraft, to be honest. Nothing crazy. Nothing that's going to make this game unplayable. Oh my goodness gracious, the sensitivity is so high. Nothing that's going to make this game unplayable other than just the fact that, you know, me playing it sort of renders the game unplayable because I just, I don't know. I'm holding it in a weird way too, and that's definitely not helping me a whole lot. It does seem like it's running okay. Let me zoom out here and let me try and hold it like a normal person would. It might be a little bit harder for you guys to see, but surely to goodness I'll be able to look around and play a little bit better. I think it's running okay. Definitely not perfect frame rate, but I mean, I would definitely call this playable. And the fact that it's running on mostly high settings, oh my goodness gracious, guys. This is so bad. How do I reload? There it is. These have got to be bots. Let's see really quickly here again if we flip it over. We're going to get anything higher than 104. We're really having around 101 for Call of Duty Mobile. Honestly, in some ways, this might be running better than Minecraft did, which is weird. I don't really know what to make of that. Just so you guys can get a look at that live frame counter, we're going to load into another match and just play for a moment again so you guys can kind of keep an eye on that. Are we going to drop below 60 as I kind of run around here? I kind of think we're going to hold pretty steady. Again, I'm not holding this in a way that I'm attempting to be like hyper competitive. I just want you guys to be able to see the frame rate up top. And maybe I'll kill somebody here or there in the process. It looks like we're hanging pretty steady at 60 FPS here. Get back here, dude. 60, 61. Looks like it's pretty stable, pretty solid to me. So a game that I don't think runs particularly well when you boost the settings all the way to the moon is going to be Genshin Impact. I think that's how you get into the settings somewhere in here. I'm staring right at it, I'm sure. There it is. And if we go to graphics, you can see here I've moved it on to highest, and that's where we are at. So let's go back and let's go back again. And what you'll see is that there are definitely some frame drops here and there. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of playable like this, right? Like I think you could make this work. I'm looking around pretty quick, probably giving everybody motion sickness. Let's see if I can go. Is this like an enemy up here that I can? Yeah, this looks like somebody that's meant to be killed. Definitely some frame drops as I'm on the approach. I don't know what these things do. Oh, there's more. So like I said, this is on the very highest settings. And I mean, you know, it's not running it perfectly, but it's running it relatively well, guys. Like it's doing okay. And you could definitely lower these settings and get it to run even more smoothly than that. And just because this has been like a recurring theme in this video, let's flip it over. I think if there's one that's going to really get this thing heated up and cranking, there you go. There's 105.6. 106.1, so we've definitely hit a new high in terms of temperature. Let's zoom out real quick. I don't know what I'm meant to be doing in this game, but I'm going to run around a little bit and just see if we can really get these temperatures flying. Okay, so there's a sprint. Oh, there's a lizard. Take that, lizard. Ha! That's what you get for being a lizard around me. I will say this game does look quite nice. This is a very good-looking game. Wow, and you can climb things just like Breath of the Wild. That is hilarious. The motion blur is actually like a detriment to me. Like I hate that that's a thing. what are these, some boar? Big hitch there. Oh my goodness, that was easily the worst hitch that I've had yet, and it happened right as those boar sort of turned to attack me. So I would say you would definitely want to be turning your settings down on this a little bit, lower them from the maximum. This is not, I mean, look, you want this thing to be the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or whatever, but it's just not. So you're going to be lowering some of these settings to get rid of some of those hitches and things like that. And let's take a look at what kind of frame rate we're getting in Genshin Impact with that counter as well. Moving around, we're holding pretty steady around 30 FPS, although I do imagine we're going to see some occasional drops. But I don't know, maybe not. It's actually holding fairly steady at this point. As we're fighting this blob monster, again, we're holding pretty much at 30. I've not actually managed to get it to do any of the little hitches and so forth over the last little bit. I would guess there was a small hitch there, but it didn't actually register on the frame counter. I would guess that if you're playing this on maxed out settings on your Pixel Fold, you can expect to be broadly getting a 30 FPS experience. Honestly, not that bad. And last but not least, we have everyone's little brother's favorite game, Fortnite. And let's jump into, let's see here, settings. And let's look at the quality here. Auto set. So it auto set it to 75% 3D resolution. That is just not going to fly. I don't care if that's what it wants to do or not. We're going to 100% because that's just going to look absolutely terrible. Show FPS. Let's turn that on so we can kind of get an idea of what's going on there. And we're going to leave the rest as it is because that's what it thinks should be happening. So now we're going to do ranked off solo battle royale. Let's go ahead and just hit play on that and let's load into a game. USB debugging is turned on, so I have to restart the game. That's cool. So as we're loading into this pre-match lobby, I've got my speakers turned up. These are stereo speakers. That way you can kind of get an idea of what this game is going to sound like being played. I'm running pretty well here in the pre-match lobby. As you can see, not a lot of frame drops happening right now, but again, well, there was a big one there. But of course, this is the pre-match lobby, so these are usually harder than the game itself, at least in my experience. And again, these are not maxed out settings. These are the settings that the game recommended, minus, of course, the fact that I did go ahead and increase that internal resolution because I just don't think that was going to look very good at all. I'm just going to go ahead and jump, and let's just go ahead and get on the ground and go from there. And you can also see the frame rate right there on the screen that we are holding steady at 30 FPS as Piccolo hurdles towards the ground in this very odd game. So I am going to hold the thing like this so that I can maybe stand a chance of running around without looking like too much of a dummy. Okay, so the movement is down there. Okay. Do I just tap it? Oh, I hear someone else. What is that? What is happening? Oh my gosh. Yeah, someone's in here and I don't... There we go. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die so bad. How do you shoot? I don't even know how to play the game, guys. I don't even know how to play. I would be remiss if I didn't show some Nintendo DS emulation on this thing as well, considering, I mean, come on, it's just absolutely perfect for it. So this is the Nintendo DS emulator Drastic running on the Pixel Fold. Of course, you could attach a Bluetooth, oh goodness gracious, I was trying to look up and play at the same time. You could attach a Bluetooth controller to this as well and really have a much better time. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to try and like do my my sliding stuff with my finger up here in a really, really weird way. Can I still do it? Kind of. I mean, I could probably still get this done if I had some practice at it. As you can see, a lot of emulation is going to be really, really good. In particular, like older stuff like this. Oh, I did that wrong. Older stuff like this is going to be totally fine. You know, one of the things people love seeing the most out of the Surface Duo in fun videos like this was probably watching it play, take that Yoshi, watching it play DS games like this. And, you know, you can make the argument that the Pixel Fold is going to have, you know, the raw power to get this done in a really, really nice way as well, and in a really similar, beautiful form factor. So there you go, guys. That is a handful of popular games tested on the Google Pixel Fold. A few more notes to cover in this gaming experience, though. As I showed you the thermals throughout the course of this video, the device does get relatively warm. Of course, it really only gets warm on the back side, right underneath the camera bump, and that's not too far from where you're probably holding the device. I don't feel like it gets uncomfortably warm. That being said, some people may find it to be a little bit annoying. It's not going to burn you or anything like that. We're talking about 106 degrees. That's well below the threshold to cause any sort of actual damage. Hopefully nobody was expecting to be burned by this phone. It's not that hot. And as somebody who has daily driven the Surface Duo, Duo 2, and Z Fold 4, all of these devices do get relatively warm, the Duo in particular, because of how thin it is, how thin this device is, and the Tensor is just a warmer running chip. It's not something that I'm like all that weirded out by because I'm just kind of used to it because of Surface Duo. Now, I will say there is one pretty major quirk. After gaming for some amount of time, I dropped my Pixel Fold onto my Pixel stand, which is a wireless charger, and it would occasionally be charging, and then it would say not charging. Then it would say charging, and then not charging. And I believe what was going on there was it was actually detecting that it was too warm to wirelessly charge. So after that, you know, period of time doing the gaming for this test, which took a decent amount of time to film all this stuff, it had reached too much of a thermal saturation to want to reliably wireless charge. That could definitely be a problem for some people. Of course, if I just plugged it in, no problem at all charging it if you just want to plug it in. But if you do use a wireless charger, that is definitely something to consider. Now, another aspect of this that kind of leans into the thermals a little bit is the fact that this thing uses the same system on a chip, the Google Tensor G2, as the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. However, I feel like the gaming performance on this might be ever so slightly worse than on the Pixel 7 Pro. Even though the general UI moving around is absolutely buttery smooth, launching apps, split screen apps, all these things, very, very smooth. Actual gaming might be slightly worse here. And I think that there are two factors there. One, you're driving graphics on a much larger screen, so you're just pushing more pixels. But also number two is the fact that this thing is so very thin and is therefore, you know, utilizing less physical space to dissipate heat. It's going to be an even warmer running device versus the Pixel 7 Pro, and that could be causing some thermal throttling. So this is sort of my overall verdict. If you're buying a foldable for the gaming alone, I would probably lean towards something like the Z Fold over the Pixel Fold. I don't think the Pixel Fold is terrible at it, and a lot of games are going to run great. But if you want to push the highest end games on your foldable device, having something with that Snapdragon in it is probably going to be your better choice. You can game on the Pixel Fold, but you're going to game better, more reliably, with probably better longevity and better thermals on something like the Z Fold. So there you go, guys. That's my verdict. Hopefully that gives you guys some important information. Subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.